Australia just hit pause on migration numbers, even as demand to move here has never been higher. And this isn't just another routine update. Behind the headlines are policy shifts that could change how families, students, and skilled workers plan their futures. In September 2025, 10 major changes have landed, each one carrying ripple effects across visas, jobs, and even the dream of calling Australia home. Some are opening doors faster, others are quietly shutting them. So buckle in, because we're counting down the 10 biggest shockwaves shaking Australia's visa system right now. And trust me, number 1 will leave you rethinking everything you thought you knew about migration to Australia. Number 10, migration cap holds steady. Let's start with the big picture. Australia's government has decided to keep the permanent migration cap steady at 185,000 places for the 2025-26 program year. That's the same number as last year, but here's the catch. The demand is climbing far beyond that cap. Think of it like a concert with only 185,000 tickets. Millions want to get in, but the doors only open for a fraction. And with skilled workers, international families, and students all competing for those limited spots, the competition is fierce. Officials argue that holding the line creates stability, giving the system room to process backlogs, manage housing pressures, and keep the labor market balanced. But critics say it feels like a bottleneck, especially when industries from healthcare to construction are crying out for more workers. For migrants, this cap means one thing. Getting in won't just be about meeting the requirements. It'll be about timing, strategy, and standing out in a crowded field. And if you think that sounds tough, wait until you hear what's happening with processing times. Because while the number of spots is frozen, the speed of decision-making is shifting fast. Number 9. Processing times crack faster. Here's something few people saw coming. Even though the migration cap hasn't budged, the speed of visa processing is picking up, and that changes the game. For skilled permanent visas, the average wait time has dropped from about 12 months to 11. Now, shaving off a single month might not sound huge, but in the world of migration, that can mean the difference between securing a job offer, keeping your family plans on track, or missing out completely. But the real jaw-dropper is in visitor visas and working holiday applications. Many of these are now being processed in under a single day. Imagine applying in the morning and holding your approval before dinner. That's a radical shift from the weeks or even months people used to endure. The government says this is about efficiency and clearing backlogs, but it's also a signal. Australia wants genuine travelers and short-term workers flowing in smoothly, while keeping tighter control on permanent pathways. It's a carrot-and-stick approach, welcoming quick visits, but making the road to permanent residency more selective. For applicants, faster decisions mean less limbo, but it also means less time to fix mistakes. A small error in paperwork could now cost you an opportunity that gets processed and closed before you even realize it. And speaking of requirements, the next change doesn't just speed things up, it completely reshapes who's even eligible. Because the list of English language tests is expanding in ways that could surprise you. Number 8. English tests expanded. For years, one of the biggest hurdles for migrants has been proving their English. The rules were strict, and the list of approved tests was short. But now, in a move that caught many by surprise, Australia has expanded the list of accepted English language tests, giving applicants more flexibility than ever. Up until recently, you were pretty much locked into a handful of options like IELTS or PTE. If you struggled with one format, tough luck. It could sink your entire application. But now, that pool has grown to 9 recognized tests, opening the door to people who may perform better with different exam styles. This isn't just a technical update, it's a lifeline. Language tests can cost hundreds of dollars, and some migrants sat through them multiple times, only to miss the required score by a fraction. With more options on the table, applicants can choose the test that best matches their strengths, whether it's computer-based, paper-based, or designed with different scoring systems. Critics, though, wonder if more tests could mean more inconsistencies. Will every test be treated equally in the eyes of employers and universities? Or will some still quietly carry more weight than others? That's a question many applicants are now asking. But here's the kicker. While the list of tests has expanded, the requirements themselves are also shifting. And the new English rules for the skills and demand visa could make or break future applications. Number 7. SID visa English requirements shift. If you thought having more English test options made life easier, here's the twist. The bar for certain visas is shifting upward. Starting 13 September 2025, the brand new Skills in Demand visa comes with fresh, detailed English score requirements, and they're stricter than many expected. For years, IELTS was the gold standard. A score of 6.0 in each band usually kept you safe. But under the SID rules, that baseline moves. Depending on the stream, you may now need higher individual band scores, think 6.5 or above in speaking and writing, with even tougher marks if you're aiming for the specialist skills stream. The same goes for PTE, TOEFL, OET, and the newer accepted tests. Minimums are now spelled out clearly, leaving far less wiggle room. Why the change? The government argues it's about ensuring skilled migrants can thrive in workplaces from day one. Strong English means fewer misunderstandings, smoother integration, and higher productivity. But critics see it as another filter that could shut out qualified workers, especially from countries where English isn't widely spoken, but professional talent is high. For applicants, this shift means no shortcuts. Even if you're a brilliant engineer, nurse, or IT specialist, you can't bypass the language hurdle. It's a clear message. If you want in, you need the communication skills to match. And here's where it gets even more pressing, because on top of higher test scores, the income thresholds for skilled visas are also rising. In other words, meeting the English requirement is only half the battle. The financial gate just got tighter too. Number 6. Earnings bar rises. Just when applicants thought the English hurdle was high enough, another gate has been raised. Money. From July 2025, Australia lifted the minimum income thresholds for skilled migrants, and the numbers are eye-opening. For the core skills pathway, the bar now sits at AUD 76,515 a year. And if you're going after the specialist skills stream, that figure almost doubles, AUD 141,210. That's not just a nudge upward, it's a serious jump that instantly prices out thousands of hopefuls. The government says this is about keeping migration aligned with real demand. By setting income floors, they want to attract workers for roles that genuinely boost the economy, specialists in medicine, engineering, IT, and advanced trades, while filtering out lower-wage applicants who might add pressure to housing and social services. But for many talented professionals, especially those coming from countries with weaker currencies, this new standard feels like an unclimbable wall. A doctor in their home country may earn a fraction of that amount, even though their skills are desperately needed in Australian hospitals. Critics argue it could block exactly the kind of talent Australia claims to want. For families, the challenge goes beyond salaries. Meeting these thresholds often means having a job lined up before arrival, or proving you'll quickly land one at that level. It's not just about skill anymore, it's about proof of financial power. And that's where the tension gets real. Because while income floors are rising, industries across Australia are still calling out for workers. So who actually benefits from this change, and who gets left behind? That's the next shockwave. Number 5. Why this matters. This isn't just a policy shift, it's financial gatekeeping. By tying visas to high income thresholds, the government has made migration less about skills and more about money. For applicants, it's a daunting new reality. A brilliant engineer, a nurse, or a teacher may have the qualifications Australia needs, but if their pay packet doesn't cross the line, their dream visa is out of reach. It's a system that risks filtering out talent simply because of geography or pay scales back home. For families, the pressure multiplies. Relocating isn't cheap. Visa fees, health checks, flights, housing deposits. Add to that the need to prove a six-figure income, and the barrier feels insurmountable. Many who once saw Australia as an open door now see it as a fortress with a toll gate. And yet, industries are crying out for workers. Hospitals short on nurses, farms desperate for laborers, tech firms chasing specialists. The contradiction is stark. While the government tightens who can enter, businesses are struggling to fill gaps. That's why this matters. These rules don't just shape who gets in, they shape who gets left behind. Number 4. Hidden tension. Beneath the headlines, there's a tug-of-war shaping Australia's migration story. On one side, industries are ringing alarm bells. Healthcare, construction, and tech are all calling for urgent access to skilled workers. They argue the economy risks stalling without fresh talent. On the other side, policymakers are tightening the screws, raising income thresholds, narrowing pathways, and keeping the migration cap locked in place. Their message? Australia must prioritize housing, infrastructure, and stability before opening the doors wider. This tension creates a paradox. The very sectors that keep Australia running are pleading for reinforcements, while the rules designed to manage demand make it harder to bring those reinforcements in. The result is a labor market squeezed from both sides. Employers unable to fill vacancies, and migrants struggling to qualify despite having the skills that are desperately needed. For future applicants, this hidden tension is more than political noise. It's the battle line that will determine how easy or how difficult it is to make Australia your new home in the years ahead. Number 3. Who's winning, losing? Not every group comes out of September's visa shakeup the same way. There are clear winners, and some who are being squeezed harder than ever. Winners first. Highly paid specialists, think surgeons, IT architects, mining engineers, are sitting in the sweet spot. The new income thresholds hardly touch them, and demand for their skills remains sky high. Employers desperate to fill these critical roles are fast-tracking offers, meaning top-tier migrants are landing opportunities with relative ease. Students also catch a break. With faster processing times and broader English test options, pathways to study and eventually transition into skilled visas are smoother than before. For many, Australia remains a launchpad for long-term settlement. But here's who's losing. Mid-skilled professionals, nurses, teachers, tradespeople, ironically the very people Australia needs most. They often earn below the new income bar, leaving them stuck in limbo despite shortages in hospitals, schools, and work sites. Employers in these sectors are feeling the squeeze too, struggling to match higher wage requirements to sponsor talent. Even families get caught in the crossfire. Tighter income-proof requirements make it harder for partners and dependents to secure a pathway alongside the primary applicant. So, while the system claims balance, the reality is uneven. Migration in 2025 is shaping up less like a level playing field and more like a ladder, where only those on the highest rungs can climb easily. Number 2. What you must do now. If you're serious about making Australia your new home, September's updates change the game. Here's how to stay ahead while others fall behind. Plan early. With caps frozen and competition fierce, waiting until the last minute is a recipe for disappointment. Start your paperwork, skills assessments, and document checks now. Check your English test. More exams are now accepted, but the Skills in Demand visa has strict score thresholds. Don't assume your old test will work. Double-check and, if needed, re-sit to boost your score. Budget higher. Between raised income thresholds, visa fees, and living costs, the financial bar is climbing. Set aside more than you think you'll need. It could be the difference between approval and rejection. Act smart. Don't just apply broadly. Tailor your application. Use the correct ANSCO codes, target sectors with shortages, and highlight experience that matches Australia's immediate needs. Strategy beats scattershot every time. Every year, thousands miss out not because they weren't qualified, but because they weren't prepared. If you follow these pro tips now, you'll stand out in a crowded field when the doors open, and that leads us to the biggest shockwave of all. Number 1, the big question. After all the updates, one question hangs in the air. What's next? Migration policy in Australia has never stood still for long. Caps can shift, income thresholds can rise again, and new visa streams could be announced with little warning. Today's opportunity could be tomorrow's closed door. That's why the smartest migrants don't just prepare once, they stay alert. Watch for new announcements, keep an eye on industry demands, and be ready to pivot when rules change. Employers too need to stay flexible, adapting recruitment strategies as the government recalibrates the system. For applicants, the real key is awareness. Treat the process like a moving target, not a fixed path. Because whether Australia doubles down on restrictions or loosens the gate under industry pressure, those who track the shifts will always have the advantage. So the big question isn't just what will Australia do next, it's whether you'll be ready when it happens. So there you have it, 10 shockwaves from September's visa update. From frozen caps and faster processing times to tougher income thresholds and shifting English requirements, one thing is clear. Australia's migration system is evolving fast. The biggest takeaway? Australia's welcome mat isn't gone, but the shape of it is changing. For some, the door is opening wider. For others, it's becoming a narrow gate that requires more planning, more resources, and sharper timing. If you're applying, stay proactive. Watch the rules, Prepare early and think strategically, because in a system this tight, small choices can decide who makes it through. Before you go, drop a comment below. How do these changes affect your own plans? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next update.